Picture this. You're aboard a deep space exploration vessel and your mission commander seems perfect. Charismatic, confident, always in control, but something feels off. Your instincts are picking up signals that your rational mind hasn't decoded yet. Today, we're going on a psychological expedition more thrilling than any science fiction adventure. We'll decode the hidden behavioral patterns of narcissistic personalities using the same systematic approach that space explorers use to identify alien life forms. These 12 signs are like a universal translator for understanding a complex psychological phenomenon that affects millions of relationships across our planet. Just as ancient Stoic philosophers taught us to observe human nature with clarity and detachment, we'll examine these patterns with scientific precision. Because knowledge, as Marcus Aurelius would say, is the shield that protects us from manipulation. Sign number 1, the love bombing protocol. Imagine an alien species that conquers planets not through force, but through overwhelming displays of affection. This is love bombing. The narcissist floods you with attention, gifts, and promises at a pace that would make a supernova jealous. Neurologically, this triggers massive dopamine releases in your brain, similar to what happens during addiction formation. The key difference from genuine love? The intensity is unsustainable and strategically timed. Real connection builds gradually, like the formation of stars. Love bombing explodes like a gamma ray burst, bright and destructive. A Stoic approach. Ask yourself, is this pace natural or am I being swept away by emotional turbulence? Sign number 2, the grandiose self-image matrix. Picture a holographic projection that makes a small asteroid appear as a massive planet. Narcissists live in a reality distortion field where they're always the main character in everyone's story. They don't just think they're special, they believe they're operating on a completely different level of existence from ordinary humans. This isn't confidence, it's psychological inflation. True confidence is like a well-calibrated instrument, steady and accurate. Grandiosity is like a broken sensor reading maximum on everything. The science. This stems from a fragile ego that requires constant external validation to maintain its inflated state, like a balloon that needs continuous pumping to stay expanded. Sign number 3, the empathy void phenomenon. Imagine meeting a highly advanced android that can perfectly mimic human emotions but doesn't actually feel them. This is the narcissist's relationship with empathy. They can recognize emotional cues and respond appropriately, but it's purely computational. Neuroscience shows us that empathy involves mirror neurons firing when we observe others' experiences. In narcissistic individuals, this neural mirroring system is significantly dampened. They might say the right words when you're hurt, but their emotional response is like a ship's computer analyzing data rather than a human heart feeling pain. The Stoic insight: watch their eyes when others suffer. Genuine empathy creates micro-expressions that calculation cannot replicate. Sign number 4, the resource extraction protocol. Think of a parasitic alien species that doesn't just take what it needs, but what it wants whenever it wants it. Narcissists view relationships as resource extraction operations. You're not a person, you're a supply chain. They catalog your skills, connections, emotional energy, and material resources like a strategic AI mapping valuable assets. The exploitation is often subtle, disguised as friendship or romance. They might borrow money and never repay it, use your professional network for their benefit, or drain your emotional reserves while giving nothing back. The pattern? They appear when they need something and disappear when you need something. Like a black hole, everything flows toward them. Nothing flows back. Sign number 5, the dual envy paradox. Imagine a cosmic phenomenon where a star simultaneously burns with jealousy toward other stars while believing every celestial body orbits around it out of envy. This is the narcissist's emotional universe. They experience intense envy toward others' success, relationships, or possessions, but simultaneously believe everyone else is consumed with envy toward them. It's like living in a hall of mirrors where every reflection shows either a threat or an admirer. Psychologically, this stems from a fundamental insecurity masked by superiority. They cannot celebrate others' victories because every success feels like a diminishment of their own significance. Meanwhile, they interpret neutral interactions as evidence of others' hidden jealousy. Sign number 6, the superiority transmission system. Picture an alien emperor who believes their species is so advanced that other life forms exist solely for their amusement. Narcissistic arrogance isn't just feeling superior, it's broadcasting that superiority through every interaction. They interrupt conversations to correct others, dismiss suggestions without consideration, and speak to service workers like they're malfunctioning robots. This behavior serves a dual purpose: maintaining their inflated self-image while establishing dominance in social hierarchies. The ancient Stoics understood that true wisdom reveals how much we don't know. Arrogance is the opposite, a desperate attempt to appear knowledgeable while revealing profound insecurity. Watch how they treat people who can't benefit them. That's where their true character appears. Sign number 7, the fantasy reality generator. Imagine a virtual reality system so advanced that its user begins to believe the simulation is more real than actual reality. Narcissists live in elaborate fantasy worlds where they're the protagonist of every epic story. These aren't daydreams, they're alternate reality constructs where they possess unlimited power, perfect love, or supreme intelligence. They might spend hours imagining scenarios where they humiliate those who've wronged them, or fantasizing about future success that validates their specialness. The danger? These fantasies become blueprints for their expectations of real relationships and situations. When reality doesn't match their internal movie, they experience what psychologists call narcissistic injury. It's like expecting the laws of physics to bend to your imagination. Sign number 8, the chosen one delusion. Think of a cosmic entity that believes it was specifically selected by the universe to fulfill a destiny that ordinary beings cannot understand. This is how narcissists view themselves, as fundamentally different from and superior to the rest of humanity. They don't just feel special occasionally, like we all do. They operate from a core belief that they are a different species of human, with capabilities and insights that others cannot possess. This manifests in their conviction that normal rules don't apply to them, that they deserve treatment and opportunities others don't. The irony: this desperate need to be special often makes them remarkably predictable. True uniqueness doesn't need to be proclaimed or defended. As the Stoics taught, the person who is genuinely exceptional rarely needs to tell others about it. Sign number 9, the admiration consumption drive. Imagine a star that doesn't generate its own light, but requires constant energy transfusions from other celestial bodies to maintain its glow. Narcissists are admiration vampires. They cannot maintain their self-image without constant external validation. This isn't about enjoying compliments, which is natural and healthy. This is about psychological survival. Without regular doses of praise, admiration, and recognition, they experience what feels like existential collapse. Their self-worth isn't self-generated, it's crowdsourced. Watch the pattern. They fish for compliments, steer conversations toward their achievements, and become visibly agitated when attention shifts away from them. It's like watching someone desperately trying to recharge a dying battery, but the charge never holds. Sign number 10, the Universal Privilege Protocol. Picture an alien species that lands on Earth and immediately expects red carpet treatment. Not because they've earned it, but because they believe their existence alone warrants special consideration. This is narcissistic entitlement in action. They expect preferential treatment in restaurants, immediate responses to their messages, and automatic compliance with their requests. When they don't receive this special treatment, they don't just feel disappointed, they feel violated, as if a fundamental law of the universe has been broken. The psychology: they operate from a belief system where their needs are automatically more important than others. This isn't conscious selfishness, It's a worldview where they are the main character and everyone else is supporting cast whose primary function is to serve their narrative. Sign number 11, the reality distortion engine. Imagine a technology that can alter your memories and perceptions so subtly that you begin to question your own reality. This is gaslighting, the narcissist's most insidious weapon. They don't just lie, they rewrite history. They'll deny conversations that happened, claim you said things you never said, and insist that your emotional reactions are evidence of your instability. Over time, this creates a psychological fog where you lose confidence in your own perceptions and memories. The manipulation extends beyond gaslighting. They use guilt, fear, obligation, and intermittent reinforcement to control behavior. Like a master puppeteer, they pull strings you don't even realize exist. The antidote: trust your initial instincts and keep a record of important conversations. Sign number 12, the criticism defense matrix. Imagine a spacecraft with shields so sensitive that even cosmic dust particles trigger full defensive protocols. This is how narcissists respond to criticism. Even the gentlest feedback activates their entire psychological defense system. What looks like simple feedback to you feels like a direct attack on their core identity to them. They might respond with rage, complete shutdown, blame shifting, or immediate counterattack. The reaction is always disproportionate to the criticism because they're not just defending their actions, they're defending their entire self-concept. This creates impossible relationships where honest communication becomes a minefield. You learn to edit yourself, walk on eggshells, and eventually stop sharing your authentic thoughts and feelings. It's like living with a bomb that detonates whenever truth gets too close. As we conclude our psychological expedition, remember that recognizing these patterns isn't about judgment, it's about protection and understanding. Like ancient astronomers mapping dangerous asteroid fields, we study these behavioral patterns to navigate relationships more safely. The Stoic philosophers taught us that we cannot control others' actions, only our responses to them. Armed with this knowledge, you can make informed decisions about your relationships, set appropriate boundaries, and protect your emotional well-being. Remember, narcissism exists on a spectrum. We all have narcissistic traits to some degree. It's when these patterns become rigid and harmful that they become problematic. If you recognize several of these signs in someone important to you, consider consulting with a mental health professional who can provide personalized guidance. Your psychological well-being is as important as your physical health. Trust your instincts, maintain your boundaries, and remember that healthy relationships should enhance your life, not drain it. The universe is vast and full of possibilities, including the possibility of relationships built on genuine respect, empathy, and mutual growth.